The afternoon sunlight spilled softly through the cafe windows, painting golden lines across the floorboards, and the faint hum of chatter mixed with the scent of freshly brewed coffee. But at the corner table near the glass wall sat a young woman whose world felt nothing like the peaceful scene around her. Her heart raced as she stared at the untouched cup of cappuccino before her, the foam slowly collapsing into silence, just like her confidence. Her name was Mira Lane, 24 years old, holding a crumpled R.A. Summe in her handbag and a broken dream she couldn't afford to mend. Today wasn't supposed to be another day of disappointment. Today was supposed to be her new beginning. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in stories that restore faith in humanity, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Every act of kindness helps another heart believe again. Mira's hands trembled as she adjusted the buttons on her faded navy dress, one she had worn countless times to job interviews that never called back. Her friend Lee had insisted she try something different. A blind date. Maybe, Lee had said, you'll find someone who sees more than your bank balance. Mira had laughed it off, but now sitting there waiting, she wondered what she was doing. She had barely enough in her wallet for the coffee she ordered. Her rent was due. Her last paycheck from the cafe she'd been laid off from had gone into helping her mother's medication, and the future stretched before her like an empty street after rain. Then the cafe door opened with a soft chime. A tall man walked in, wearing a light gray suit, no tie, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knew the world listened when he spoke. His eyes, gray like the morning sky before a storm, scanned the cafe until they met hers. He smiled, not the arrogant smile of someone who owned the room, but the gentle kind that made you feel seen. Mira, he asked as he approached. She nodded, almost forgetting how to breathe. His name was Ethan Vale, 31, a man who had built his empire from the ground up. But no one looking at him in that moment would have guessed the size of his bank account. There was something disarmingly genuine about his tone, the way he leaned slightly forward when he spoke, the way he asked questions as if the answers truly mattered. They talked for what felt like hours, about life, about dreams, about failure and hope. Ethan listened as Mira told him about her love for art, her struggle to find stability, and her father who had once told her she was born to paint the world with colors it didn't yet have. She hadn't touched a brush in years. The cafe grew busier, the light shifting as clouds moved across the sky. Mira felt lighter than she had in months. For a moment, she forgot about the bills, the interviews, the uncertainty. But as the waiter quietly slipped the folded bill onto the table, reality returned like a cold wind. She froze. Her stomach twisted when she saw the number. The total was far more than she had expected. Ethan had ordered lunch for them both, and she hadn't realized how quickly the cost had added up. Her pulse quickened. She fumbled through her small wallet, her fingers brushing against the few crumpled notes she had left. Just enough for her bus ride home. She hesitated. She couldn't let him see. Pride was a fragile thing when you'd spent years scraping through life, but it was all she had left. She tried to smile, pretending to reach for the bill, but Ethan caught the faint flicker of worry in her eyes. "Is everything okay?" he asked softly. Mira shook her head quickly, forcing a laugh. "Oh yes, of course. I just, wasn't expecting the total. I'll, split it with you." Ethan watched her carefully. There was something in her voice, something he recognized from his own past. Before success, before boardrooms and headlines, he had been the one counting coins in his jacket pocket, wondering if dignity could fill an empty stomach. "Mira," he said after a pause, his tone warm but steady. "It's on me." She blinked. "No, I can't let you. You're not letting me," he interrupted gently. "I'm offering. It's just lunch. Besides, you've given me something far more valuable today. A conversation that wasn't about business or money." Her lips parted, but the words wouldn't come. Her eyes shimmered as she looked down, feeling both relief and shame tangled together. No one had ever said it like that before. It wasn't pity, it was kindness, pure and uncalculated. He paid the bill quietly, without another word, and they stepped out into the daylight. The afternoon air was crisp, filled with the sound of traffic and distant laughter. Mira walked beside him, feeling a strange sense of peace. They strolled through the park across the street, where sunlight flickered through the trees. She found herself telling him about her lost dream of opening a small art studio for children. how she had once believed she could make something beautiful out of nothing. He listened without interrupting, the way someone listens to a song they never want to end. When they finally reached the park gate, Ethan turned to her. "Mira, do you still paint?" he asked. She shook her head, her smile bittersweet. "Not anymore. Life got complicated." He looked at her for a moment, as though memorizing the way the light hit her face. "Then maybe it's time to make it simple again." She laughed softly, unsure what to make of his words. He handed her a small card. "Come by this address tomorrow at noon. Just trust me." The Mira hesitated, the doubt tugging at her chest, but something in his calm confidence made her nod. "Okay," she said quietly. That night she couldn't sleep. She replayed every moment, every word. Who was he, really? His name sounded familiar, but she couldn't place it. The next day, she dressed in her cleanest outfit and arrived at the address, a modern glass building that towered over the city. Her heart pounded as she walked through the doors. The receptionist smiled and led her upstairs to a wide-open floor filled with light, canvases, and colors everywhere. At the far end stood Ethan holding a paintbrush. "Welcome," he said. "This is one of my companies. I invest in community projects. This one's an art center for underprivileged kids. I wanted to show you something." He walked her over to a blank canvas and placed the brush in her hand. "You said you used to paint dreams. Maybe this is where you start again." Tears blurred her vision as she stared at the empty canvas. For the first time in years, she felt the world open before her, not as a wall, but as a possibility. Her hand trembled as she made the first stroke, color spreading across white, trembling but alive. Ethan stood silently, watching her reclaim a part of herself she thought she had lost forever. Over the weeks that followed, Mira became part of the project. She taught children to draw, to dream, to see beauty even when life felt gray. Every day she arrived early, stayed late, and poured her heart into the place. Ethan visited often, not as a boss, but as a friend who believed in her more than she believed in herself. Months passed, the art center thrived, and one afternoon, as sunlight bathed the room, Ethan surprised her with a small exhibition. Her paintings lined the walls, surrounded by the children's artwork. "You gave this place color," he told her quietly. "It's only fair the world sees what you created." Myra turned toward him, her eyes filled with tears she didn't bother to hide. "You changed my life," she whispered. He smiled. "No, you changed your own life. I just picked up the bill." The crowd applauded as she stood there, overwhelmed by emotion, remembering the girl who couldn't afford lunch, now standing in a room filled with her own art, her own light. It wasn't about money or charity. It was about the moment someone saw her worth when she couldn't. So many people walk past others every day, never knowing how a single act of kindness can rebuild an entire life. Ethan had understood that, and as Mira painted late into the evening, she realized something simple yet profound. Kindness wasn't about giving what you have, but sharing who you are.